Well, a lot of cameras here.
Excuse me, I'm a legal observer. What's your name?
Thomas. Just please don't walk behind me, otherwise I don't care, so I can see what's going around.
Yeah. Sorry. Never mind.
What charges what are the charges?
Sorry.
Yeah.
We're
Do you know why you're being held?
I'm not being. I was released by the police. I think the UP police officer is walking away now, so I don't even think I am being held.
Okay. And what's your name?
It's Matt Kellegrue.
Okay. I got Kellingrew.
Kellegrue.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Do you want to know what happened?
Yeah, please.
Okay. I have a bus that runs on vegetable oil. We were filtering the vegetable oil. The police came around the corner in a huge mass. There was a site supervisor. There's like people that are maintaining the site here, and then another person who I don't know who was standing on the back porch. Over a dozen police officers rolled up on bikes and formed a perimeter around my van. I tried to say, hey, that's my van. Do you need anything? They said, put your hands on your head. One of the person who was the maintaining the site reached into his pocket to get a cell phone, at which point the police officers tackled him. When the police officers tackled him without any warning, there was a person just sort of looking out the door. They didn't say anything to anybody. They just ran up and grabbed him too, and then tackled him down. He had a pocket knife.
Is that Brian Rackney?
I don't know who he is.
Brian Riggins, was that the person who was here to say
I've never seen that guy before. I don't know who he is. So there was the man at the door. They grabbed to the ground, and then they said he had a pocket knife on him. Although I heard the officers talking, they couldn't determine whether or not it was of legal length or not. They didn't know, but they were charging him, I think, with resisting arrest and having the pocket knife. Then they detained me and asked me a bunch of questions about the van. They wanted to know a lot about who was inside. I don't know who's inside or what goes on in there, so I couldn't answer any of their questions, but they're very curious about what goes on in the building. Then they detained me, saying that my van was on railroad property, which it turns out it wasn't, and then they left, I guess.
Why do you think they're coming here today?
I think that they're coming here today because people are maybe making some banners or preparing for some peaceful protests. And
why have you all come here to Denver?
I'm in a touring band. We came to play for the demonstration.
Do you think they did this because they're about to have a march led by Iraq veterans against the war?
That's my
which will be
speculation.
the biggest march we've had in the entire time.
Yeah, it seemed like they were really nervous about it. I'm from Olympia, Washington. Several of the police officers mentioned the port of Olympia and the port of Tacoma and the protests that went on there. And then laughing amongst themselves, they were like, when are we going to get our turn? So I think that maybe their mindset is sort of prepared to be really confrontational towards a demonstration.
Explain the significance of the Port of Olympia.
The Port of Olympia and the Port of Tacoma were both ports in Washington, also the Port of Aberdeen, where the military was moving striker vehicles and other equipment to and from the war effort in the Middle East, and then citizens, including a group called PMR, which is the Port Militarization Resistance, and then several other unaffiliated groups formed human and physical blockades against the port movement.
So the anti-war movement blockaded the ports up there, and you think they're worried about anti-war demonstrations here?
I think they're worried about any form of demonstration, but the IVAW was very active in the port actions, and the IVAW has been really active against any militarist actions, and so they're leading a big march today. It's my speculation that that's why. There's been police helicopters flying over all morning and that kind of thing.
Has law enforcement had any other contact here at this?
As far as I know, this is the first time, although I do know that there's a log being kept and a police car drives by once every 20 minutes, I think.
Is that a question?
Yeah.
We've been, as someone who's been working on security here and keeping track of the cars that go by, we've had a police vehicle come by every 3 or 5 minutes consistently since we got here over a week ago. Okay. Also, we've had 4 incidences. The day that there was that march downtown that everyone encircled by police, that day there were 4 instances of police arresting or detaining individuals within a 10-block radius of this Convergence Center. I was arrested for pedestrian use of sidewalk. I don't even know what that means, but they said that I was in the road, which is untrue. The real reason I was arrested is because I was taking a picture of a policeman as he arrests somebody who left the Convergence Center, and they're recording everybody who comes in and out of here, and it's clearly harassment. There's a clear record of increased police activity around this area, and I think that anybody who just even has any shred of common sense would see that.
What's your name?
My name is Ringo Kamens.
How do you spell the last one?
Kamens.
So do we know why Brian Riggins was arrested?
He was arrested for standing on the corner and trying to enter back into the building. That's the guy that was standing right there.
Yep.
Dude, there wasn't really any warning or information given. They didn't say, everybody stay where you are. I don't know. You know, cops, I think, are supposed to tell you what to do. I think the dude just peeked out the door, saw there were a bunch of cops, tried to go back inside, and they grabbed him. I should also mention that there were, this is an industrial lot, and there were some bricks and rocks that were being used to weight down banners, and they kind of went through and picked all of them up and said, these are what the protesters are using to throw at the cops, and they were saying that they were going to attempt to charge. They were attempting to get a warrant into the building. I heard them on the phone saying that there were weapons, sticks, and rocks outside, and there were plans to use them against officers, and then a person on the phone denied their warrant, and then I heard another officer saying, well, I don't want to break that warrant, but I think that there might be stuff in there, and it was really clear that I think that their main motivation was to attempt to enter the building, and they were trying to look for evidence that would allow them to do that.
What's the effect of this kind of intimidation on people who are protest?
I think cops will always be cops, and we're always prepared for them.
That and arrests, that's bail money, drains resources.
I mean, we haven't seen as many people in the streets at this our DNC as we have at previous ones. I mean, do you think the intimidation has anything to do with that, or what do you think is responsible for that?
I think it's a really complex issue.
Cops are outnumbered the protesters a lot of places.
I think a lot of people are really disconnected and isolated from the electoral machine, and they see this Obama figure as maybe a way out of that, and for that reason they don't see the inherent threat in a two-party system or the continuation of that system or the interests laid out by the Democratic Party year after year after year after year, and so they don't see the same impetus to make vocal action as maybe they will at the RNC next week, which is what I've been hearing.
Okay. But isn't Obama an anti-war candidate? I mean, why are you here even protesting at the DNC? Shouldn't you be up in St. Paul?
First of all, to say that to protest simply against one person. I mean, I'm not a spokesperson. I could just talk for myself. But to say that it's about protesting Obama as if maybe I could get another candidate that would fit my issues better. Like, I think it's the entire two-party electorate system. I feel like the Democratic College. I feel like a republic democracy is non-representative of individuals, and therefore any candidate that ascends to public ranks is never going to be wholly representative and is never going to return direct power to the individuals, which is what I believe is right.
What's your name one more time?
It's Matt Kellegrew.
How do you spell your last name?
It's Kellegrew. Egrew.
Do you think vegetable oil played any part in their
They were really curious about it. They're like, "Get good mileage on that." Blah 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 blah. I'm a fucking cop. That's what they said. But, yeah, they were definitely a big group of cops.
Fleet of cop cars on veggie oil.
Oh, I'm sure. Environmentally safe cops.
They can enjoy breaking down every 5 minutes then.
Anything else you'd like to say?
I really hope that this type of intimidation doesn't prevent people from coming out, and I don't know. You know, it's like these police they've always been there, and they'll always be there.
Are we going to see you all in St. Paul too?
I can say.
All right.